Okay, well, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Lily Pinedo-Gianca, and I'm the Program Director of the Chicanx Latinx Student Success Center at San Jose State University. We are excited that you're able to join us this afternoon to learn more about the graduation process. We know specifically how to apply to graduate at San Jose State. I know that it could be a little bit of a lengthy process, and some people aren't really too sure what the steps are. And as we mentioned in the email, there are some perks to applying a little earlier, and our presenters this afternoon are going to share not only that information, but also all the steps that you need to take to make sure that you have that application on file and that you're meeting all of your requirements to make sure that you graduate on time. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce our presenters for this afternoon. They are the undergraduate graduation evaluators out of the Office of the Registrar. So I'm happy to introduce Roselia, Agu, and Linda, who will be presenting this afternoon's information session. So without further ado, I'll turn it over to them. And again, if you have any questions along the way, please use the chat function, and we will be answering the questions towards the end. So thank you so much for joining us today. And I'll turn it over to our presenters.
Thank you, Lily. Good afternoon, everyone. As Lily mentioned, we're here to give you a brief presentation about what graduation, how to apply, what the process is, and how to go about it. And we will also be providing you with some resources as far as you can go back and look at those resources if you have any other questions. I will be presenting, I'll be starting the presentation. As Lily mentioned, my name is Roselia Lobato Morales. I'm the undergraduate graduation lead, and I also handle the department, one portion of the department for CHHS. So furthermore, let's start with the presentation. We ask if you can please keep your questions at the end, and we'll be happy to answer those questions. So how to stay on track to graduate and receive your diploma. Our presentation, we're gonna have a general process overview, which I'll be talking about it. Then Linda will be covering some application tips and how to go about applying for graduation. Aga will be covering what's the difference between online and paper application for graduation, providing information about student success and other resources. As well, at the end, there will be a survey that if you will please stay until the end, so if you guys can help us with the survey, and Naga will be monitoring that survey as well. So let's start with the general process. There's 3 different areas. We are gonna be covering the criteria, deadlines, and benefits about applying for graduation. So for a student to be eligible to apply for graduation, you must have 85 semester units or more in order to be eligible to apply for graduation. Be in good academic standing, meaning that your San Jose State University GPA and your overall GPA are a 2.0 or higher, as well as your major GPA must be a 2.0 GPA or higher. How do you know what your GPA is? You can check with your major about your major GPA, and you can run your unofficial transcript to find out what your SJSU and your overall GPA is. And it will also give you the amount of units you have completed at that point. Deadlines, why deadlines are important. We have the October for fall semester. Our deadline, priority deadline is October. So for example, for fall 2021, that deadline was October of 2020. But we have a second deadline, which that will be March 15, 2021. And to know more about the information about our deadlines, you can visit our website, and you will be able to find exactly the exact date of the deadlines on our website. For spring and summer, deadline is March. So for example, for spring and summer of 2022, our deadline will be March 15, 21, and our second deadline is October 4th of 2021. Why do we have two deadlines. You might say, where's this? You talk about a first deadline and then a second deadline. You will see that if you visit our website. So let me explain that. The first deadline is for students. The benefits that you get to apply by the first deadline is priority registration. You will be getting priority registration for that, as well as you will be, your application will get reviewed, which this means that graduation review means that you will be able to know what exactly you have outstanding for graduation before you register for classes. In priority registration, you get to register in the priority group for the previous semester before you, you graduate. So we recommend for students to apply a year before, because the process, it's a little bit time consuming, and that you need to speak to your advisors, your major departments, and then to us. So I will recommend, we recommend for you to apply a year before by the priority deadline. There's benefits. You get priority registration, your application gets reviewed. That way you will have a better sense of how many courses you still have to apply for graduation. If, I mean, outstanding for graduation. If you need to make any changes, or you might be able to graduate sooner than what you thought, or you might need to move your graduation one semester more, or arrange in taking classes, more classes than what you need. It's just an overview and a review for you to find out exactly where you are. We also recommend for you to check with your departments about the deadlines. Some departments have their own deadlines that you need to apply by. And a department that comes to mind that have deadlines different or before our deadlines is business. That's the only one that I can recall right now. But it's always for you to check your department, and then before you can start applying for graduation. That's the first place that we advise students to start checking with their major department first. Okay, and now let me switch it to Linda and for over application and tips.
Okay, so I'll be going over some application tips like before you apply and so forth. Next page, thanks. All right, so basically before you apply, you wanna make sure that we have you at the right major. For instance, if you're a BFA animation illustration major, but you're actually wanting to major in BA Design Studies. So you want to make sure that we do have you as BA Design Studies and not the one that you had previously. So you always want to double check and make sure you are in the right major. And if you do have a minor, make sure you did declare a minor before you even apply. So those are the nice tips that you want to do. And also you want to make sure that your department or your major, whether it's online or paper application, because some majors, they're still paper. Majority of them has gone online, so you can apply online. So you want to make sure, if you don't know which which one is your major, there's a website for you to double check. And diploma address, you want to make sure you fill out your diploma address is current. That's where we're going to be mailing your diploma at. Okay, it's a difference between the mailing address and the diploma address. Diploma address is where your communication is gonna, where your diploma is gonna be sent. And if you don't know when you want to expect to graduate and stuff, you can always go see your advisors. As a center, they could always go over, like, if you're not clear when you want to apply to graduate, they'll be able to meet down and discuss that further with you. Next. Okay, so before you even, you want to consider, make sure your transfer credit units, especially those that are transferring from a community college, make sure all your units are here showing on your SJSU, and make sure that those courses is clearing where you want them to clear. So you want to make sure you all the courses, and if you haven't submitted all your official transcripts, you might want to contact them and make sure you submit your official transcript so as we could review it. And make sure if you've taken courses from study abroad, make sure all those courses are coming in so they're itemized in your SJSU transcript. And you want to make sure that you don't have any report delay. What that means is like if your instructor haven't submitted grades yet, okay? And you want to make sure all your incompletes are taken care of, because there is a limit on the incomplete courses. You'll end up getting a F grade if you don't, extend that or take care of your incompletes. And make sure your name changes. If you have a middle name you want to be on your diploma, you will have to change it officially. So basically you'll see exactly what your official name is what we have on record. So if you have anything else, if you need to, you will have to change it officially for your records, okay? And how do you see that? If you run your unofficial transcript, and that's the name, it's going to be what we have on record, okay? So there's on our website, if you need to change your name or add a name or whatnot, your middle name, there's our website will have the form to fill out. And again, our diploma address, make sure, because it will take 2 to 3 months for your diploma to be sent. So for those that are living maybe in the dorm or whatnot, if you're going back home or out of state or out of country, make sure the address, your diploma address is the address that you want your diploma to be sent. And for those that have more than multiple minors, only one minor will show up on your diploma. So you might want to contact your evaluator and let them know which one you want to show on your diploma. But all of them is going to show on your official transcript. And if you want the other minor to show also, you will have to order a duplicate diploma and specify which minor you want on the diploma. Next. Okay, then now we're going to talk about graduation. Next. Okay, so as I mentioned before, for graduation, there's information on the website provided. So if you, there's tutorial for those that for online graduation, there's a tutorial to show you how to apply online, and also the website to also let you know which major is online and which major is still requiring paper app. And for those that paper app, you will need to contact your department and you will need to submit your application to them and your major form for them to review and approve, and they will directly email them to us, your graduation evaluator, registrar, once it's approved and got signed. Okay, and I'm gonna turn it over to Olga for online and paper application, the differences.
Okay, thanks. Hi, everyone. So as Linda had mentioned, there's different formats on how to apply. You can apply online or by paper, and it really just depends on your department and major. Next slide. So if you are applying online, what you do is you go to your My SJSU to apply. You verify your major information, so you don't need to input that, it's already there. But you want to make sure you are in the appropriate major. Also, there's no paper forms required. It's all via your My SJSU. And please review the online application tutorial. We have that on our website. And that link, I believe, was shared. Now, if you have a major that's using paper to apply online, you'll need to review the paper application instructions. We have instructions that will specify what you need to put on the paper form. So you fill out the form, it's their graduation application. You also indicate on that form if you have any pending non-SJSU coursework. So this could be regarding any community college classes that you're taking, maybe your local CSC or your local community college. And then also you will need your major advisor's signature on it as well. So we recommend that when you fill this out, have a discussion with your advisor for your major, and they'll help indicate what term you want to apply for graduation. They'll make that recommendation. And then also what's really important on that paper form is also including your diploma address, an address we're going to mail the diploma to after you graduate. Okay, next slide. So student success centers. These centers are for all the colleges. So for all the majors, we have a success center for business, education, engineering, health and human services, humanities and arts, science, social sciences. So these centers are actually here to help you in applying for graduation and also discussing any coursework concerns you have and making sure you're on the right track to graduate. So definitely get their emails and contact information. Each success center is kind of different too, but based on your major. Like as Rosalie had mentioned, business, they have their own deadline for when you should apply for graduation. And they also have an additional survey that they have students fill out before they can apply. So that's just for business majors though. For other majors, your process is different. So I recommend get this contact information here to reach out for any questions, advising questions you may have. Okay, next slide. All right, so this is a time where we can answer some of your questions that you have. So feel free to ask either one of us, me, Rosalia, or Linda, and we'll be able to answer your questions.
I'm going to start with a couple questions that came in through the registration that were kind of common questions people had. So the first one being, how do I check whether or not I actually applied to graduate?
Okay, so if you want to know if you apply, you can check under under my progress, and then under my progress, it will have your major. If you have a minor, it will have the term that you apply for graduation, and then right underneath, it will say that you have applied for graduation or pending work. If it says not apply, that means that we have not received an application. You have not applied online and you have not applied, we have not received a paper application. If it says apply for graduation, that means that the application was already online or we receive a paper application. If it changes to pending work, that means that we have reviewed your application and an email was sent out by us notifying you what outstanding requirements you have for graduation. If you apply online, we refer you to check your My Progress and any other steps that you need to follow. If we receive a paper application, we will be attaching a graduation worksheet with the outstanding requirements for graduation. And that's sent out via email by one of the graduation evaluators. Also in our website, it has a link to each graduation evaluator. So we recommend that you check for our emails or put our name under your contacts and it will not go to the spam because we will be sending emails directly to the students and just reply back to those emails and it will come directly to us. So emails can be about the graduation process, when we will start awarding degrees, and if there are any outstanding requirements, whole letters, those emails will be coming from us.
Thank you, Rosalia. I have another question in regards to students who may have not submitted their application to graduate this spring, but they plan to graduate this spring. Is it too late?
It's not too late. We, as I mentioned at the beginning, we do recommendations for students to apply by the deadlines because students of the benefits that they will get, and also there will be for sure that if they will be graduating or not. But we still take applications. The only downfall on this is that the review is gonna take a little bit longer. And you might have outstanding requirements that you were not aware of. But you can still apply. Some students, as I mentioned, that might be graduating sooner than what they expected. So after they talk to their advisor, they realize that, yes, I can graduate spring instead of fall. So can I still submit my application? Yes, you can still submit your application. It will be reviewed at the same time that we review all the students, when we do the final review, I should say. But just the review itself, it can take a little bit longer than the usual process.
I have
Thank
a
you.
question.
Yes,
Yes.
go ahead.
So I guess I fall under one of those students that's graduating plans to graduate this spring. I guess this is a two-part question. When is literally the last moment I could submit the application? Because you mentioned something about a minor has to be applied first before.
Yeah. So now in order to apply for a minor or major, declaring a major or minor is done basically online. The departments have this advising center that they submit the paperwork or through that advising center. So it's done through internal process. The only thing will be if your minor is not online, we will need an actual physical paper, minor form. Due to the circumstances right now because of COVID, we're asking the departments to send a minor form or major form directly to the evaluator. If you're a major for science and you have a minor in psychology, the psychology department needs to send it to the graduation evaluator who's handling the science, the major. It will not be going to the person who's handling the psychology department. So it will go to your major evaluator, the minor, and it will need to come directly from the department because we cannot do it in person now. That's considered official coming directly from the advisors. As if we were in person at the office, we will require the student to hand that in and a department sealed envelope. But due to the circumstances right now, we ask the advisors, the department to email them directly to us. And some departments, criminal justice, kinesiology, hospitality and management, they have a site with us that they just put in any major forms, minor forms into that site, and we're able to upload them. But not all of them have that opportunity to do it or have that access. But if you're one of those majors, they can automatically upload it.
Okay, thank you. I know someone else asked it in the chat. When you go onto your My Academics, it doesn't have an area for applying for graduation. Is there a reason for that?
Yes, if that happens after you talk to your major advisor and you are one of the students that can apply online. If your major is allowed to apply online and you already checked that you have 85 units or more and you're in good standing, your advisor needs to notify us, the graduation evaluator, letting us know that he or she already talked to you, they already went over it, and if we can make them eligible. We have to make you eligible in order for you to be able to see the link to apply online. So if the advisors notify us, yes, this student is eligible, then we can go in and update the system. It usually updates until next day. And sometimes it can be done, it all depends on the system, something that is being run, but we usually tell students until next day, you will be able to see the link to apply for graduation. Then if you don't see it by next day, then just contact us again so we can find out what's going on. But then after you see the link, you can just click in and apply for graduation.
Awesome, thank you for the information.
There's some that after a certain period of time, we remove that because when you apply, there's only a limit of terms that you can apply. We don't open all the terms. We open a year ahead. So not all the terms are available. So if you don't see a future term that is not there, that means that you're not able to apply at that time yet.
Thank you, Roselia. We had another question come in earlier about a student who already submitted their graduation application, but what if they haven't declared their minor yet? What would they need to do next?
They can still declare it if they submit an application and then later on they find out that you can get a minor as well. You can still submit, it's called declaration of major minor. And that's as well, like I said, through the advisors will submit that, that declaration of major minor to our department. And as I mentioned, if it's online, we will be able to view it. If it's paper, we will require the actual minor form be sent to us directly.
Sorry, I just also want to add, some of the departments are using DocuSign to send the forms. So you can use that as well, send it via DocuSign, and we'll be able to get the completed form from that.
So we consider the final deadline, the last day to add classes. I'm sorry, the last day of instructions for that specific term. That will be considered our last, our final deadline for students to make any changes, get any approvals for that specific term, or submit their application.
Thank you. A couple more questions in the chat. One is regarding where it says on your graduation or on your My Progress, may say finish pending work, but they're not sure what else is left. Can you explain or elaborate that process?
Okay, yeah, that's actually a common question that we have. It says pending work because you might still have work in progress. So what it means that everything has to show up green under your My Progress in order for us to award your degree. And we also have to do other, when we review, we look at other areas, other criteria as well. But one of the ones that we look at is your My Progress to make sure that everything is green. If anything is pending, we will not be able to move forward. So we recommend that if you see anything pending, either it's in progress or red, or has not been taken, to take care of it right away. And we also send out messages notifying the students about key points, what to do, what to check prior to the end of the term, so they can take care of those issues before the instructors leave and before we start reviewing the files for the final review.
And something else I want to add on is it's going to say needs to finish pending work until we've done our final review. And that's the term you have communicated to us that you're going to be graduating in. And that will be towards usually after grades have been posted for that term. So you'll see it there for a while. It's not going to go away. Everything is done.
So it will change, it will switch until we have actually posted that degree. That's when it will show up degree awarded. That's when it's gonna change.
Thank you, Roselia. We have a question here. I see Gabriel has their hand up. Gabriel, you want to go ahead and ask your question?
Hello. Hi. I have a whole bunch of courses from like 5 different community college from 5 different community colleges, and they all transfer to SJSU for the most part. But with some of those classes meet the requirements for some of these requirement subheadings, and some of them aren't accounted for. Who do I talk to? My advisor or the evaluators?
Okay, if those courses, you already see them on your transfer work, you mean that they're not being articulated to a course here at San Jose State?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
You will, if you already apply for graduation, you will talk to the graduation evaluator. And it could be that it was not assigned properly, or it could be that that course has not been a rule generated to articulate to a specific course here at San Jose State. If in that case, you will need to contact your department. And if you're already a major that is online, what they'll do, they'll do exceptions. That will be internal. So you will contact your advisor the advisor will submit those exceptions to the person who handles making those changes in my progress. So it will show clear as far as like using this course for another requirement here at San Jose State.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I will recommend for you to start with your major department. If they said that because they will know if there's an articulation agreement or not with the specific community colleges.
Mhm.
If there's the articulation agreement, then go ahead and contact the evaluator. If there's not, then they can help you and assist you there.
Okay. Because one example, like the Chicano, I took a Chicano history course at a community college level, and it didn't transfer to the required requirement at SJSU. Well, that's what I'm seeing here. It's still red.
Okay, yeah, I will say check with the department because sometimes they even a change of a course number or the title of the department, the college, it might change. So check with them first. Like I said, check with them first. And then if there is an articulation, then go ahead and contact your graduation evaluator. And then he or she will be able to make that change. So you can read that course has been completed.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
Celia, we have another great question, which is being asked by a couple of students. So what if they have 84 units after the spring semester? Will they be able to apply, or will they have to wait until they complete the 85, maybe summer or even fall?
In that cases, we go case by case. Like I said, we will go based on the advisor's recommendations. We'll go based on the advisor's recommendations. If after they have met with their advisors and their advisors contact us to let us know that, yes, the student, it will be okay to apply, that will be able to meet all the requirements. Yeah, then we can make some exceptions, but that will be case by case. And like I said, we will go based on the advisor's recommendations.
Thank you so much. Another question that came in is, once they declare their minor, will that minor automatically show up on their diploma?
Not necessarily. Well, not necessarily. The student has to complete the requirements for the minor. If they declare a major and a minor and they don't complete the requirements for both, we cannot award a degree. So if they decide at the end, oh, I'm not gonna be able to complete all the requirements, I still have this class, but I'm done with all my major requirements and I wanna graduate already. So they will they can drop the minor and then we can award a degree. But if the major requires a minor, then you have to complete a minor. We also go based on the major requirements. Some majors require a minor, so the student must complete the minor requirements as well. And that will be based on the major department. How you will know is by contact your major department and ask them if they if it's require a major or not, a minor or not.
And I also want to add on about the minor. The minor has to have at least 12 semester units totally separate and distinct from the major.
Thank you, Linda. I think that's really important information to know. We have a couple more questions regarding the minor. I think the minors are a really hot topic this afternoon. So another student asked that they're thinking about changing their current second minor. Should they do that switch before actually applying for graduation?
We recommend for them to do it, but if it's not possible, if they need to apply, for them to apply and then they can do that change. That's possible to do that change afterwards, but we will recommend if they can get that change done ahead of time, that will be much better and it will decrease headaches and process. So we will recommend for them to do it, but it's not necessarily.
I want to add on to that.
Go ahead.
We do recommend them do it because if they don't change it, what we give them is as a preview, as if they're doing paper, we are basing off the minor that, that the wrong minor that didn't want, you know what I mean? So it's best that what you have when when you have the right minor, then you apply. So whatever we review, that's current and that's correct.
So whatever the student applies for, if it applies for a major in 2 minors, that's what we're gonna be holding the student for. So any changes, if they wanna change the major, or they don't wanna pursue a minor after a certain period of time, or they wanna change to a different minor, they have to do the change. If not, we will have to hold them for the requirements, or like Linda mentioned, we're gonna be awarding whatever is listed there.
Thank you, Roselia. Gabriel, I still see your hand up. Did you have an additional question, or was that from earlier?
Yes, I have 2 more quick
Okay, go ahead.
questions.
Go for it.
My first one is, I did mention that there was some transfer courses that still needed to be relooked at. But I'm also in the process of getting my AST and CSU breadth certificate, something like that. And once I get those 2, will that pretty much answer my question? Like, will that turn all those transfer questions into green once I get those 2 certificates, the degree and a certificate? And my second question, as a veteran, who do I talk to get my my PE requirements fulfilled?
Let me answer the PE one first. Some students might have that question as well. If you have a copy of your DD 214, you will submit that to your graduation evaluator after you have applied for graduation. And that it requires for you to have a year of service in order for us to provide you credit for it. And that will clear your 2 requirements for PE. So you can send us a copy of it. That's the only document that we allow copies for it. So you can send it to us via email to your graduation evaluator, and your graduation evaluator will be able to award units for you with the DD 214, and it will be clearing your PE, but like as I mentioned, you need to have a year of service or more. And regarding the other question about the certificates, I'm not quite sure about those certificates, but it doesn't really matter if the student gets an AA degree at a community college and then transfers to us. What we look at is that you have the general education requirements that can transfer, or any course that can transfer. We look at the 70 units, transferable 70 units from any community college. That doesn't mean that if you take over those units, that will not clear requirements. Requirements get clear, doesn't matter whether you go over the 70 units, but those 70 units we only count 70 units over to the total amount of units required for graduation, which is 120 units, semester units. So those are the 70 units we will count. But even though you max out the 70 units and you take 90 or 100 units, and the requirements will be clear. Courses will be clear, but only 70 out of those 90 units that you complete will count towards your 120 semester units required for graduation.
Okay, appreciate it.
I answer your question.
Oh, yeah.
Linda.
And then Gabriel, and to everybody else, right before we end, we are going to include the contact information. So everybody has an evaluator assigned based on, I believe, your discipline, right? The college.
Yes.
So you could always follow up with an evaluator directly to look into your situation closely, just to make sure you're getting the right information too, because we know it can get a little complex case by case. So we'll make sure we provide that contact information before you leave, so you know who to follow up with. Rosalia, we had another question, and I don't know if Ariana is still on the call, but Ariana had a question in regards to, again, when to actually submit a graduation application. They're at already 85 units completed, but it looks based on the number of classes they still need to fulfill the degree. It looks like they'll be graduating closer to 1.5 years to 2 years out from now. Should they still apply now?
Well, right now we're taking applications for, we already started taking applications for spring 2022. So that deadline for spring 2022 actually is coming up, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, the students can apply now for spring, summer 2022 at this point. So we're open right now from spring 2021 to spring and summer 2022.
Thank you, Rosalia. So those were all the questions I see in the chat. Actually, oh, I see Adrian here. Adrian, do you want to go ahead and just unmute yourself and ask your question? I just saw it come in.
Yeah, so actually, I'm returning this semester, and I wasn't aware of all the deadlines and the application process. And so I only have basically 5 classes. I'm taking 3 of them this semester, 1 at a JC. And I'm wondering if I can still graduate in the fall after I finish the 2 classes that I need for my minor.
Yes, you can still apply right now. Our second deadline for fall 2021 is March 15. So you still have time to apply to meet with an advisor. What is your major?
Aviation.
Aviation. So there's an engineer. Linda, are they already online? I'm sorry.
Yeah, aviation's already online.
So it's already online. So you will be able to apply online. So we'll recommend for you to contact the Success Center for the engineering department and then start the process of applying.
Yeah, I
Okay.
suggest him talk to the advisor because aviation, they always require advising. So he needs to contact your department first and get advising from the advisor.
Okay, so I go through my major advisor first, and then I come visit with the Engineering Success Center.
Yes.
Correct. Yes.
And the deadline is, I can still do that by March 15th.
Correct. Or you can still apply after March 15. That's not a problem. You can still apply after March 15 for fall 2021.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And I just also want to add though, when you apply by the deadline, you get priority registration and a graduation review sooner than later if you don't apply by the deadline.
Yeah, thank you so much for clarifying that, because that was one of my other concerns is I didn't get into the business classes I needed for my minor this semester. So I postponed those until the fall. And so if I can get priority registration, that would help me a lot.
Yeah. So if you can submit it by March 15, if you can apply by March 15, then you will be getting priority registration for fall 2021.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
All right, I see I have 2 more questions that came in. One is regarding courses taken at a community college. So if a student earned an F at a community college, does that count towards their units that transfer over to San Jose State? That F, they're trying to petition to get that F removed from their transcript, but will that impact the number of units that they're transferring from their community college?
Okay, since the student, if the course is transferable, that's what we check first. If the course is transferable, and if the course is transferable, basically the student is not bringing any units with an F because the student is not getting any units with an F, but it is affecting their GPA. So we will count those for the GPA. We will not count any units towards the 120 or towards the 70 transfer, but it will affect the GPA of the student, and those will be counted if the course is transferable. If the student is working on that but needs to send the transcript, needs to apply, needs to submit the transcript to us, the student can go ahead and do that. We will recommend to wait until the student has already clear it up with the college. But if the student is applying for admissions or for any other purpose and they need to submit a transcript, later on, if it gets resolved, if they get approval, they can notify us. I got this approval, and have the community college send us an updated transcript with the fix that the course got either approved as a withdrawal or that is not counting against their GPA. Then we can go ahead and go back and make the fix in their transfer work.
Great, thank you. Another question that came in is regarding, I think this is similar to an earlier question, but they may have come in a little later. So they have a minor right now, but it's not showing under the major right now under the My Academics tab. However, they did apply for graduation. Is that going to impact their minor in any way?
Okay, so that means if when they look into their My Progress and they don't see the minor, that means that the student actually has not applied for a minor in our side. It could be that they already started talking to the minor department and they submit probably all the paperwork to them, but they have not declared. They need to submit the official document declaring major minor form. That's the form that needs to come directly to us in order for, or they need to fill out and just follow the instructions. That's the form they need to do in order to declare the minor and be able to be in the system.
Thank you, Rosalia. Another question here in the chat is regarding the PE requirements. Can I take those at a junior college? Second question is, can I challenge the requirement?
That will be going through undergrad studies department if they want to challenge it or if they want to waive it. We don't know what the criteria is. The students have to submit petitions and talk to them about it and see what the requirements are, what they need to do. We're just aware that there's a petition that they need to fill out. There's a personal statement that they need to fill out. And then there's different other things that they need to do with them. For the PE, yes, it can be taken at a community college. They just have to make sure that it's 2 different courses and that they're taking 2 units. And to be aware that if they're taking it at a quarter school, it's different from a semester, semester school. So yeah, as long as those 2 different courses, or there's some PE courses that are equivalent to 2 units. So they can take that course that is a 2-unit course, a 2-semester unit course, and that will clear their PE as well.
Great, thank you. So I think I covered all the questions in the chat. Does anybody else in the room have any additional questions for our evaluators?
Rosalia, move to the next slide.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I see Guadalupe. Go ahead, you have your hand raised.
Yes, so I'm not exactly sure how many units I have so far. The last time I spoke with my advisor, they mentioned that I think I wouldn't be able to apply for graduation until the end of this semester. And would the process be the same or would it be different?
You can run your unofficial transcript, and at the bottom, you need to look at your units earned. Your overall units earned, and that's the amount of units you have. Also, if you transfer more than 70 units, you can only count 70 units from the transfer work and count the units taken at San Jose State University, earned units, and that will make your total so that you can be aware how many units you have in total. If you're gonna be done with the 85 units at the end of the term, you can still apply at the end. For what term are you planning to apply, or do you want to apply?
I'm currently a junior, so it would be for spring 2022.
Okay, you can still apply for a spring, summer 2022. Our first deadline is March 15, but our second deadline is October 4th for spring 2022.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Great, thank you for your question. Any additional questions at this time? If so, you can just go ahead and unmute yourselves. Okay, so I'll turn it over to our presenters to wrap up our presentation today.
Yeah, so if you have questions about convocation and ceremony, so this is not specific about graduation requirements. This is about the ceremony because they now have it online and they have like a grad fair and everything. Go to this website we have here for convocation and ceremony. And then if you have additional questions just after this presentation, definitely visit our frequently asked questions section of our website. And we've listed the website here. And then to find who your graduation evaluator is, you can go to this website here and we have the evaluator by your college or your major. So you can look either way and you'll find one of us there. And the best way to contact us right now is via email, and we can schedule a Zoom appointment with you too. So when you contact us, please use your SJSU email and send us an email, and we'll be able to chat and discuss further with your any questions you have. Now, before we close out, I would like you all to fill out a survey about this workshop that we just gave. So before you leave, please go to this website. I'm also going to post it in the chat and fill out the survey completely before you leave. And yeah, this just lets us know like what things we can include. If there's further information we need to provide you or just how we did, we'd appreciate your feedback.
Thank you so much, Aga, Roselia, and Linda for this very informational session. We know that students continue to have a lot of questions about the graduation application process, so we hope that you found this very useful. As a reminder, we did record the session, so I know some of you came in a little later, so if you want to be able to see the entire video, we will be posting it to the Chicanx Latinx Student Success Center's YouTube channel, which I went ahead and posted also in the chat. The link is there so that you can see the information that you may have missed when you came in. So thank you again for joining us this afternoon. Thank you to our presenters, and we hope you enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Thank
you.
Thank you.